a bit? Okay, oh yeah, there it is. Hello. My name's Helma Hare. Welcome to the Big Questions panel. The point is to ask questions, so please do get your thinking caps on and think of some. So my name is Helen, as I say. I'm a film journalist. I'm editor-at-large of Empire magazine. I recently wrote a book called Women vs. Hollywood about women in film. But I am not answering all your questions myself because I'm wildly unqualified to do so. So I'm delighted to be joined by Rosie Fletcher and Michael Adji as well. How are you doing? So do you guys want to introduce yourselves first of all to the crowd? Hello. Okay. Can we get a check on Rosie's mic?
Hello.
Oh, hey.
Dear me. I'm Rosie Fletcher. I'm the UK editor of Den of Geek. So you might have seen our magazine kicking about the place. It's got June on the cover and the show guide in the middle. So I'm UK editor of Den of Geek, but also the print editor, and so I'm a print nerd. Well, I used to work in total film, so I've known Helen for quite a long time, and I'm really happy to be here.
And Michael.
Hi there guys, my name is Michael Adji. I'm a comic connoisseur. I'm a huge cosplayer, as you can see. I'm cosplaying Ghostbusters, and I'm just a huge nerd, actor, boxer, just a regular guy.
Okay, so all your who would win in a fight questions, he's the expert for this one. Okay, you've got to keep it covered. Oh no, he'd definitely win the fight between us. That's not even a question. No.
I'll just go in another direction. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the idea of this is it's all the big, possibly stupid geek questions. It's the who would win in a fight, it's the which do you prefers, it's the please explain the thing that makes no sense, and we will do our best, and we may well fail, but we will do our best. We have our lovely assistant here ready to take your questions, so if you do have a question at any point, please do put your hand up and he will come over with the mic and provide it to you. In the meantime, I've got some questions just to get things going, because I know it takes a minute, kind of. Oh, well, no, fantastic. We've got a Spartan warrior here who's just ready to go. This is fantastic.
Sparta! No, Aru? Yeah? Okay, cool.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey, actually,
Oh,
but yes, technically Sparta.
Oh, she said she set me up. She did it on purpose.
I'm so sorry, that's a failure on my part to recognize Greek armor. I apologize.
Thank you, everyone. With the right, in my opinion, push for progressivism and inclusion in pop culture and media nowadays, do you believe the actions of recasting certain characters into different races or choosing those actors is the correct push forward, or do you believe a greater emphasis should be made to create more original characters that are themselves inclusive and that the racial or gender bend themselves are a bit more lazy as opposed to a genuine attempt to be inclusive?
Right, yeah. So is it about switching existing characters or making up new ones, basically? And if you want to start, because I know what my opinion is, so I want to go first.
Let's start with a hardball. So this whole Jonathan Kent Superman being bi, it started a big hoo-ha. I didn't see what the problem was with that, you understand? It hasn't really affected the original Superman, and if this is a new character, so to speak, newish, why is there a big problem? And to be fair, it's representing a minority in comics that doesn't get represented often. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, like I see it as the more representation there is, the more of a fan base that's gonna go towards that genre. You know what I'm saying? Like for example, big example, Black Panther. When that happened, I swear it was a big recognition and pride was there, you know?
I think that's a really interesting question, and I think that sometimes creating new characters to add a level of diversity can be a really positive thing, but it can also feel like tokenism. And I think that I guess the goal is to basically normalise everything. So in comics, and the world of comics is absolutely enormous, so you will find all kinds of different things. So anyone who wants to argue that this character can't be a woman, or this character can't be black, or this character can't be bi, doesn't really understand what the history of those kinds of things are. However, I do think creating I mean, I don't just want to talk about the world of comics, but I think, for example, the personal history of David Copperfield. I know this is not necessarily a comical film, but that was a very interesting kind of race-blind casting in the sense that it really wasn't relevant at all. And so then you just had a lot of really interesting characters and it just wasn't part of it. And I thought that was quite an interesting move, really.
Yeah, so here's my position on this is that basically it's going to take too long if we have to create new characters for all of this. Because for the big studios, it is such a massive risk now to make a film. It is so expensive to make a film, especially the kind of films that we're all talking about today, that they will not do it unless they're pretty certain it's going to make a huge amount of money. And the only way they can be pretty certain it's going to make a huge amount of money is if it's or that they feel they can be sure, is if it's an existing intellectual property that is already popular and it already exists. So they are sure they're going to make money on a Batman or a Superman. They're not sure they're going to make money on another comic character who doesn't have the same history. Even as something like a Ms. Marvel, it sells incredibly well, but they're going to TV with that, they're not going straight to the movies. So what I think is happening is, because the financial picture, this is so boring, the financial picture really rests on having very recognizable characters that you can sell all around the world, because it is so expensive to make and market a big film nowadays, that relies on them having these marquee, very familiar names. And the problem is that most of those were created between 50 and 100 years ago. We're talking Sherlock Holmes, we're talking, Cap, and we're talking all the Marvel and DC characters. They've all been around forever. So they were all created as straight, cis, white, middle class, mostly men. So given that, it's going to take an incredibly long time to change the picture unless we're working with some of those characters. So you either try gender flipping or race flipping or whatever else, something like they've done with Foundation, where there's no reason that those characters have to be white men. They've made a bunch of them black women and it works brilliantly. Or you're going to be stuck and it's going to take literally decades to change the picture. So I think the answer is you've got to do a bit of everything. You've got to do a bit of bending, and you also, it sounds like Avatar, you've got to do a bit of bending, and you've also got to do a bit of bringing up original characters and supporting original stories and actually taking some chances, which I know Hollywood hates doing, but that's the dream. If they could, that would be super cool. So yeah. Oh, good, we've got questions. Yes, fantastic, yes.
This is a very big question. Which is better, Star Trek or Star Wars?
The biggest question, Star Trek or Star Wars? Opinions?
No,
I mean, that's kind of, why can't we have both? I mean, like, both are great. I mean, I am of an age where I grew up with Star Wars and had all the toys, and like, it's a massive part of kind of, I don't know, being in this industry. Star Wars is just a really, really big deal. But I do think Star Trek is really progressive, really interesting, and like opens doors for like, because there's so many different kinds of Star Trek. I think the world of Star Trek maybe offers possibilities to be bigger and therefore can carry on forever. Whereas Star Wars, although of course they are expanding in lots of different ways, I wonder whether that world is a little bit more limited. I mean, I could not possibly choose between my children, but if I had to, then Star Wars. But
how about you, Michael?
Star Trek, simple as that. I remember going home after school, it was BBC Two watching Star Trek The Next Generation. And when Picard goes, number one, engage. Every single time he does that, I was like, this guy is so dope. And the scene, the intelligence, they're using their heads to deal with a situation. It's not always conflict or war or aggression. I thought to myself, why can't I be like these intelligent scientists? They make science look so cool. And especially was it J.J. Abrams' movies as well, when that came out, I was like, yo. And the music part, I can go on forever, but yeah, Star Trek, for me, it's Star Trek.
I'm a bit with Rosie in that I refuse to choose. I am wearing Star Wars shoes. I don't know if you can see these.
So she's
I have
chosen.
my no, C-3PO and R2 shoes. But I actually, if I have to choose, I like Hamilton. If I had to choose, I would choose Star Trek as well, just because of what you said. I mean, I love that they sold, it's kind of utopian versus dystopian, really. And Star Trek is absolutely utopian. It's if we're being totally honest, communists. There is no scarcity of resources, so they share everything, and they're a post-money society, and they're super awesome. But so yeah, it is massively utopian and dreamy, and I love it. And Star Trek.
I'd like to throw a bit of a curveball out there, if that's all right, Lee. Well,
Okay.
not only that, right? I don't know if anyone feels the same, but Star Wars and Star Trek and the Marvel Universe and a lot of shows like Game of Thrones
Yeah.
are a bit scary. And
Yeah.
I mean this by they've been going for such a long time and they have such a lot of history. It's very easy to feel intimidated by things that have that much legacy. So I don't know about anyone else, but on lockdown, I've been watching some absolute rubbish, like real rubbish, because it's new, but also things like, I don't know, Midnight Mass and stuff like that. Just for the joy of feeling like, oh, this is, I haven't got to remember 7 series of this, I can just jump in. I don't know whether you had that experience at all.
Yeah, there was a little bit, like I've been meaning to do a full Star Trek rewatch, because they're all there, and at the same time a bit like, that's a commitment. I mean, in those days, 24 episodes a season, 45 minutes an episode, 7 seasons, and that's just one of the shows. I've been kind of putting it off. So yeah, I do feel your pain a little bit. Another question.
Who do you think would win in a sword fight? Aragorn from Lord of the Rings or Jon Snow from Game of Thrones?
Ooh, Aragorn versus Jon Snow. I'm saying Aragorn. I've never seen Jon Snow have any particular skills in that respect. I mean, he's fine, he's alright, but he's not like a blade master. One of those guys from Wheel of Time, actually, with the heron-marked sword, would probably win in that fight, but within the terms of the question, I'm going to say Aragorn. How about you guys?
I mean, it's Aragorn for me, although I think it's probably Michael who would win in that end.
I don't exist during that time, so I'm more of a fist person than I'm a sword person, so I'll say, yeah, Aragorn definitely will fight, will win. Because if you see the TV series, Jon Snow was just, he died pretty wrong. He died once already in that show.
He died once already, I mean.
So he got shanked up.
How good can he be?
Then, not only that he got shanked up, think of it this way, yeah, Lord of the Rings and, what is it? Game of Thrones now. They're both scary times, they're both scary worlds. Now, Aragorn didn't even die once, and he got made king. This guy was fighting dragons, he went to the wall, man's got shanked up at the wall. I thought to myself, whoa, he can't fight. And even when he's swinging the sword, there's no sword play, there's no skill to it, there's no je ne sais quoi to it. It's like swinging it. I got better chances of beating Jon Snow than you know what I mean? Even a baby can, but yeah, you know.
I will also say, I know this isn't your question, but I will also say that Aragorn would win in a door opening contest, because no man has ever opened a door like Aragorn does, and with the 2 doors when it comes to the Helm's Deep, superb, absolutely flawless. Any other questions? Yes. Front row.
So I have like a 2-in-1 question. So like, first one, who's your favourite Doctor from season 9 onwards? And who do you think portrayed the Doctor best from season 9 onwards?
Okay, so who is our favourite Doctor and who portrayed the Doctor best? Doctor. From season 9 onward? No. Or just from the reboot onwards? Yeah. Okay, so from Christopher Eccleston onwards.
Okay, well, actually, Christopher Eccleston is my favourite.
Interesting.
I love him, and because Christopher Eccleston, to me, felt like a man who had stared into the void, and like I think he's a man of compassion, but a man who sort of carried this level of guilt and sort of trauma, which was something I'd not seen in Doctor Who before, and like it's maybe slightly obvious that I really love horror, and like so. I tend to go for things that are a bit dark side, and so I think Matt Smith is brilliant, and I think he had a lot of compassion about him, which I thought was really nice. David Tennant was really cool. I love the storyline with Rose, but Eccleston was the one where I was really sad when he left, because it felt like he was like, this is a man who's seen galaxies, he's seen planets die, like, you know, he kind of carries a weight that I really appreciate him with it. So yeah, he's my favourite.
David Tennant, he made it fun. I'm not gonna lie. Watching him during the Christmas specials, watching him during the normal show where he came on Saturday, I felt like before I was going out, turning it on, Doctor Who, watching it there, and I just enjoyed it. And you know the ones where you have a show you're probably watching in the background, I couldn't. I was so engaged, and sometimes when I was supposed to go out and meet the boys or go out on my date, I was late because of that show. So, and I know you can record it and watch it later, but no. There's no spoilers for me, none of that. I have to go watch it. When I went with my boys afterwards, watch Doctor Who. No, Michael, why are you watching Doctor Who for? You're supposed to meet us up. Oh, sorry. You know what I mean? I couldn't help it. And David Tennant has made it so compelling. He made it fun being the Doctor, and every time there was an episode going on, it was something tragic or something high stakes. Even though I know the Doctor will overcome it at the end, I just think to myself, oh my days, this is trouble, and this guy is making it seem like he's ready to party or celebrate what's going on. Even though I know the Doctor doesn't lie, but David Tennant was smashing as an actor.
100%. I've loved your faces when they were answering. When Rosie said Christopher Eccleston, she was like, "Duh." Anyway, but I have to agree. So I think, okay, two different questions. In terms of like a really good doctor, I think they've all been really good doctors in different ways, and I think Matt Smith was really had that kind of whimsical, kind of eccentric energy really, really well. I think Jodie has also had a lot of that and has had that kind of energy. Peter Capaldi had the kind of sterner, older doctor darn brilliantly, and that sense of intellectual heft and that sense that he can outthink any of you, and he's a little bit tired having to explain it to you again. Thank you, but it's David Tennant. It's David Tennant. He's the best one. He's like, it's not even close for me. I don't think it is. So yeah, 100% David Tennant. And not just because of the combo of the pinstripe suit and the Converse and the overcoat, which was also perfect. Yeah. Ooh, two questions over here. That's good.
The way he brought his hands, like, to me, my
It's Magneto over here, yeah.
I was just going to ask Futurama or Rick and Morty. Two pretty good sci-fi shows.
Rick and Morty.
Futurama. Yeah, just... come on! I mean, it's the heads in jars, apart from anything else. Just for that, I'd be Team Futurama. I just love it.
What works?
Because I couldn't really get into Rick and Morty, and I know that's terrible. I know. And
Come back.
I sort of feel like I missed out on that because we've done like we ran a piece in a previous magazine which was about some of the weirdest characters in Rick and Morty, and it was a brilliant piece that I didn't understand at all. So I'm like going, what? There's a what? And that did make me think. Actually, this is probably genius. But Futurama. Well, also the game is my age. Like I've watched Futurama for quite a long time, and I really like the characters. One of my best friend's dog is called Leela after Futurama. So,
how many eyes does she have?
She has two.
Oh, it's not great. Not very authentic, but all right. Yeah. Yes.
So Lord of the Rings has obviously got a series coming out pretty soon. You guys have obviously seen the still image, and there's obviously been a lot of money put into it. What do you guys want to see from the series that we possibly didn't get from the films? And is there anything that you're particularly concerned about that they might butcher with the books and the films?
I have a number of concerns. This is a really good question. I have a number of concerns. One of which is I'm more concerned about Wheel of Time. That's the one I'd rather see. And I'm worried that Lord of the Rings will kind of suck all the oxygen out of the room from it. So I'm really glad that season 2 is already like shooting, and I'm hoping that kind of keeps going and doesn't get kind of sidetracked. My biggest concern with Lord of the Rings is simply that it is a prequel, and I think the prequels are inherently limited dramatically because we know some of what's going to happen in the future. The only hope I have for Lord of the Rings, or not only hope, but the main reason I have hope for Lord of the Rings is that it's set far enough back in time that it's not going to be all the same people, and you're not going to be sitting there going, oh look, it's young Aragorn, I wonder if he'll survive this battle. So we don't have to worry about that. I guess there'll be probably young Galadriel, young Elrond, and we know they're going to survive the battle, but beyond that, everybody else is kind of a bit more up for grabs. If it's 2,000 years ago or something, then there's a little bit more room to play with. So yeah, I do have concerns, but also, I mean, the amount of money they're pouring into it is insane. So it's going to look incredible, and it is really exciting just to go back to that world in a different time period than we've ever seen before.
Well, I think the thing I'm most looking forward to is to do with world building, because I mean that's what I loved about the books and the level of mythology and detail and the languages, because obviously Tolkien was like a linguist. So to have the space to kind of grow that is exciting to me. I hope it isn't too. So obviously everybody's been looking for the new Game of Thrones since Game of Thrones, and I don't want this to be the new Game of Thrones, really. I don't want it to have those just to be really brutal and horrible, because that's not kind of what I like Lord of the Rings for. I like the sort of slightly more gentle, and like also like Lord of the Rings has a sense of humour and like, which is not to say Game of Thrones doesn't have a sense of humour, but I don't need it to be super bleak. I'd like it to be beautiful and massive and yeah, you're right about prequels can be limiting, but I hope you're right that the distance back means that actually it can expand into loads of really interesting worlds.
I'm not a fan. I'm not gonna front. No. I like Lord of the Rings. When I heard about them doing the TV series and it's gonna be a prequel, I went, no. I'm not, because that's what they had me when they said, I want to do Gotham. It's gonna be a prequel to before Batman. You sold me a dream, and that brought us like the Titanic. Not again. No, I'm not gonna invest. So yeah, nah. That's it. Yeah, I've said, I've spoken.
I have spoken. Yeah, over here, and then we'll come to you after.
In a fight between Superman and Captain Marvel, who would win?
Superman versus Captain Marvel. It's interesting.
Okay.
Now explain yourself. Explain your thing.
I'll explain myself now. I'm glad you asked that question. Now, every single time, every comic book user or reader or fan or fanatic knows this now. Who win that fight? Hulk or Superman? Who win that fight? Goku or Superman? Who win that fight? Let's say One Punch Man or Superman. They always match him to Superman because he's the gold standard. Now, if they were actually fighting now, let's put it there. Superman would knock her to the sun, literally. Yes, she can go into binary mode whatsoever. She would die. She would die because she won't ever take the blows. Superman holds back. She doesn't hold back, factually. And also, Superman's got a multitude of powers. She has what? How many powers does she have? She can fly. She's invulnerable to a certain degree, and trust me, that's limited. And she can projectiles from her hands. Superman now, super strength, vulnerability, heat vision, ice breath, solar flare. What else? He's also intelligent, super speed. That's something that she doesn't have as well. Huh? Bro, she can't use kryptonite because she doesn't know it exists. How can you fight someone? Is that me fighting you? Oh, you ever get your weakness? I got the weakness. Not yet, do I? You know what I'm saying? Superman will beat this woman 6 ways to Sunday, no pun intended. Sunday, right?
Oh my God, yeah. Martha Kent is going to tell him off so hard after he does. That's going to be in the back of his mind. That's going to have him holding back.
If she slaps Martha, then she's in trouble. And this goes, don't say Martha, then yeah, maybe stop there. But yeah, Captain Marvel won't stand a chance. Well, it depends what Captain Marvel you're talking about. Now, if you're talking about, maybe I'll get into it there.
Well, what I'd say is what a boring fight that would be. Like, the idea of two basically invulnerable superheroes slapping each other about across the universe is, I don't know, I don't think that's wildly appealing. Also, I would like to believe that Superman and Captain Marvel would never have a fight, because both of them are generally quite nice, good, peace-loving people who are a force for the good. Yeah, well, yeah, but still. I don't know, for me personally, I prefer a superhero who has a level of vulnerability. So I really like the recent Black Widow movie, and although obviously we all know what happens to her later, so we talk about prequels, so it is a bit like, well, is there any real peril? But actually I thought that it came with a massive level of poignance. I think the fact that Spider-Man is a kid makes it just incredibly, and also he is vulnerable. So I think the Captain Marvel and the Superman theoretical fights can happen in a different universe, but I'd kind of rather engage with the more earthly characters.
Yeah, I have to say, I really did enjoy the Captain Marvel versus Thor in What If. I thought, a spoiler by the way, if anybody hasn't seen it yet, there is a Captain Marvel versus Thor bit.
You should have said spoiler alert first.
I should have, in retrospect, I realised that spoiler alert came a little bit late for anyone to put their fingers in their ears. But it is a What If, so it's fine. But yeah, I do enjoy that kind of thing, but I also think we obsess over it too much. The genuine belief that many people have that Batman would beat Superman in a fight, I think speaks really badly of, humanity, because I feel like that's very obvious to me. That is very obvious. And I know there are some of you thinking it's Batman, because he always has a plan. I know some of you are thinking this. I have had these conversations a lot. But no. And people go, well, Batman would win because Superman holds back.
Helen, we're going out for dinner.
Yeah.
Me and
I
you
swear
right
to
now
God.
co-sign
I
that.
swear to God. People think that Batman would win the fight, and it does my head in. And they say, well, it's because Superman would hold back, and Batman, factors that in. He knows that Superman will hold back, therefore that's what he... But that's like saying, Muhammad Ali would lose in a fight to a 2-year-old girl because he would let her win because it would be cute. He probably would, but it doesn't mean she's the champion. And I kind of feel the same way about Superman versus most people. He might let them win because he would hold back, but that doesn't mean they're better than he is. So, anyway. But I actually, ultimately, I think they'd just be friends. I think they'd go for drinks, I think it'd be cool, they'd hang.
You guys are boring. Look, Superman would dumpy the girl. Calm. I don't know why we go pandering around or, cakes and sugar cakes and all that. No. Superman will win.
There you go. All right. There was a question over here which I said I'd come to, and then we'll come to you next.
This is a very open question. Game of Thrones, what went wrong?
The last season.
Oh, I have an answer to this. I have an actual answer to this. Okay, here's my theory. The whole of Game of Thrones has basically been about the line, I think you'll find it's more complicated than that. Right, the whole series. So, Ned Stark goes off to King's Landing and he's going to figure out who murdered his predecessor and he's going to bring them to justice. And then the series goes, I think you'll find it's more complicated than that, and he gets killed. So then Robb goes off to avenge him and he's going to figure out what happened and, get justice for his father. And the series goes, I think you'll find it's more complicated than that, and kills him. And the whole way along, the whole series has been about people that you didn't even know existed or that weren't involved a minute ago suddenly poking their noses into your business and you suddenly realizing that it's more complicated than that and all of your carefully laid plans are buggered. That's been the whole arc of Game of Thrones. And the problem is, as you come towards a conclusion to that story, you have to stop introducing new characters and new complications because you're trying to get to an actual end where they all actually fight each other and somebody wins, and then it stops feeling like Game of Thrones. And I genuinely think that's also why George R.R. Martin hasn't been able to finish the books, because suddenly he has to stop doing the things that have made it Game of Thrones since page 1 of book 1, or certainly since they threw the kid out the window. So there is no way to bring Game of Thrones to an end, I suspect, and have it still feel like Game of Thrones. That said, I don't think they did a good job. Anyway, sorry.
I just added my 2 pence as in the last season, but
Yeah.
that was just as better than what I said anyway.
So yeah, so that's my personal theory. I have not obviously discussed it with these showrunners. Did we have a question?
Back to Superman. This is really important to me. How do I convince 5-year-olds that Superman is better than Spider-Man because they don't believe me?
Okay, get the 90s animated series, get them to watch Justice League Unlimited, Justice League series as well, and also if you can, tie it onto the chair and make them watch the Christopher Reeves films.
Yeah.
1 and 2, not 3, because no.
I'm definitely not for it.
I don't know what 4 is.
Twice.
Kill Superman! Oh my god, flashbacks now. Oh, yeah, that's the only way I can say it,
I think you are going to have to accept that at 5 years old, Spider-Man is going to be super popular now. Like my 3 3/4-year-old nephew already adores him, absolutely adores him. I think it's because it's seeing somebody a bit like yourself. It's seeing somebody who's also young and who also isn't growing up, and therefore there's an element of identification now that won't go away for another 12 years at least.
Getting to watch the cartoons. Getting to watch those cartoons. Not the recent ones, the classic ones back in early 2000s, 90s. Them ones there. But any ones that you see them watch now, it does. Yeah, it dumbs it down completely. Oh, she's good, yeah.
All right, next, yes.
So Deep Space Nine is my favourite Star Trek series.
Correct.
I was going to say, what's your favourite Star Trek series?
Recently, it's been Discovery. I've rewatched that season. What is it? Next Generation, because that's how I first got into it. Deep Space Nine definitely is one of my favorites as well. Enterprise doesn't exist as far as I'm concerned. That was just rubbish. I have to be very careful with my words. What else? There's another one.
Original series.
The original series, that was cool. Also, Lower Decks. That is dope. Yo, on Amazon.
Yeah.
I came across that by accident. I didn't even know it was there.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this? And I started watching it, and I was like, it's 2 seasons now. So I was like, oh my gosh. Highly recommend. So yeah, I hope that answers your questions.
Original series for me, partly because of my age, but I remember watching it as a kid and it just being really exciting, and there's some really good standout episodes. But Next Generation, also brilliant. But haven't done Lower Decks.
It's so good.
Yeah?
It's so good. So yeah, I'm probably similar. I think DS9 is the best. Next Generation was my one growing up and watched it to death. Loving Discovery. Well, first half of season 1, second half of season 1. Holy moly, this is amazing. So you know, it's been up and down a little bit. Picard has been interesting, but not essential. And Lower Decks, I'm loving. So just so many deep cut references, just superb. Absolutely loving it.
I know Enterprise is. I know like not everybody loves Enterprise, but there's in the magazine, which I don't know if you've got, there's a big deep dive, big retrospective into Enterprise, and like, although even the cast, the crew acknowledged that it kind of went off the boil, like it's quite an interesting.
And it does have Dr. Sam Beckett in
well, exactly.
it.
Yeah,
So
it's got back there. I mean,
it does actually. There's another question just there.
Hi. So I don't know if you knew this, you probably do, but earlier this year Nickelodeon announced that they were going to launch a separate division, which was Avatar Studios, so it's just expanding the whole Avatar universe. I was just curious to see what you would like to see out of that.
I want Aang back. Older man Aang. That's what I want to see in these Avengers. I mean, these adventures. I want to see that in action, because when they just show his backstory in Korra and that's it, everything, okay, we know he had kids and everything, but I want to see those stories. Because when Aang tapped into his Avatar state and went in and took away people's bending abilities, I went, yo, I want to see more of this in action. And growing up, learning more, he learns more skills and techniques and get better at fighting. You know, because look at it, when you're in Korra, they built a big city, you got their own states for the wind people. And I was like, okay, we know this is happening. How does it happen? Who are these new villains? So the fact that Nickelodeon doing this, automatically I went, birthday present, thank you.
I'll be honest, I don't know enough to suggest specific storylines. I just think if they're going to do a live action film again, they should make it better. That's all I'm saying.
They should never do a live action film, because when you go
that also true.
When they went when they go Ong, I went, what? Oh my god, my spine shivered when I heard it. Ong. I went, no, it's Aang, not Ong. But anyway, that's been going on the rant. Let me stop.
Alright, we had a question down at the front. In fact, we had 2, I think. Oh, 3, fantastic. You're all in the right now. This makes it great.
Okay, so we've just heard the news that Krasinski is going to be rebooting Babylon 5 with the CW. What do you think the CW effect will be on Babylon 5?
Have you seen The Flash? That's how it's going to be like.
Okay, I mean, look, it might be like good CW. We can hope for good CW. I think what it mostly means is the cast will be vastly more attractive. And I don't mean to any disrespect to the original B5 cast, because they were lovely people, but like the level of human gorgeousness on the CW is like at a superhuman level, and so they should be aiming for that. Personally, I'm hoping that at least 3 of the leads from Supernatural will be in it at some point, but you know, we can hope.
It's not Babylon 5. It's not like when I was watching Babylon 5, the stories, the characters, the adventure, that world was so enticing and just lively. When I heard they're bringing it back, I went, oh wow. When I heard CW, switched off like a light switch.
But it's still Straczynski doing it, so like he's got to have a plan and he's got to have a say.
Yeah, but you know, Warner Brothers got money as well, and they go, look, Straczynski, you do this, but we tell you do that.
I mean, look, it's a risk. I won't deny, but like I feel like he has been so heartbroken about the way that has been treated ever since. that I feel like somebody must have made assurances to him that it's going to be treated with respect and treated with love, and I really hope the best.
We both know, we all know this already. Money is the main protagonist in this business, show business, yeah? So they go, okay, cool, we want people to watch it, so we want X, Y, Z there to be in it. They're going to be starring it automatically. And they look like 5 already.
If look, they can be handsome as long as they're also good. It'll be fine. I hope.
Okay, you know what? Okay, you know what? I'm gonna be optimistic, so to speak. Let's see how it shows. Let's see how it is. But remember this: the Flash show. I had hopes. I'm a Flash fan, yeah. When they did that show, maybe the first part of the season, yay! It started going downhill from there. You can't ice skate uphill, by the way. You can't ice skate uphill, and that's what they did. You got frozen. It went dead. Like, what time they say we are the Flash? I switched off from there automatically. So Babylon 5, I've got hopes, but it's CW. There's a few shows in CW that's okay, but
I mean, I watched 15 seasons of Supernatural, but I really appreciated your reference to Blade there and the way you very carefully edited that quote.
I was very careful about what I said there. Comic connoisseur.
Yeah, so I don't really watch the CW shows, and partly, like, I think there's kind of a thing recently where certain channels have real clear identities in terms of their shows. And CW, as you said, everybody's going to be gorgeous. They're not going to be that famous. It's going to be very glossy, and it's going to be a little bit tame. And so, you know, like if it's a Netflix show, it's probably going to be a bit trashy, and I'm probably going to enjoy it. If it's HBO, it's going to be really serious and heavy and brilliant and wonderful. And at the end, I'm going to go, what happened there? But a CW show, it feels like it's skewed a bit younger, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but to me it seems like the CW doesn't really have an edge. I mean,
I do know what you mean. I do honestly know what you mean.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna tell you something here, yeah. So you don't put me in a higher pedestal. I watch Vampire Diaries and I watch the originals. So I know people look at me thinking, Mike, you watch what? Don't judge me. Don't judge me. I watch Vampire Diaries and I watch the originals. They're dope shows, and I highly recommend for you guys to watch it too. They're on Netflix. So yeah, but anyway, yeah.
We have a saying at Empire: every day is Christmas Eve. So until you actually see it and it turns out bad, it's a wrapped present under the tree that could be awesome, right? So as far as I'm concerned, right now at least, I do share your concerns, but I'm mostly just glad to see Babylon 5. So fingers crossed. So we had 2 more questions over here. Yeah.
Which has better memes, the Star Wars prequel trilogy or the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy?
Memes, was that?
Memes. I'll tell you this now, bro. Sam Raimi. Hands down, Sam Raimi. The amount of memes I've seen from Sam Raimi alone, yeah, yo, I can't stop laughing. The amount of jokes you make from it, like, what is it? Especially because of the new Spider-Man No Way Home's coming out as well. A lot of people are using a lot of things from the Spider-Man Raimi show and movies. So there's one of I can't think of it at the top of my head now because I'm under pressure. But there's a lot going on there, and it has made me laugh hard. I think just like, wow. And this is like back in the early 2000s, and now people are bringing it back again. So that's good, yeah. So definitely Spider-Man, Sam Raimi, definitely, yeah.
I mean, the prequel memes are really, really ubiquitous right now, and like, I mean, the nice thing about them is they're kind of really easy to use, but the Sam Raimi ones, it's nice to see them back. I think also because yes, there was a lot of that going on, particularly with the third Spider-Man some years ago. So I suppose it feels fresher and nicer to kind of relive that. And I mean, and Spider-Man's such a great franchise, and I think, you know, I even like the Amazing Spider-Man movie, so you know.
All right.
Don't judge us, Helen.
I'm a little bit judging you.
Yeah, your eyebrow went up high like The Rock, so yeah. Tell you no words.
If they hadn't called her Gwen Stacy, they wouldn't have had to do what they did. I'm just saying. Anyway, she would have been a perfect MJ. Imagine her cast as MJ. Anyway, that's my Amazing Spider-Man. I'm not going to get into. Yeah, I will agree that the Spider-Man things are better, but I do love some of those Star Wars ones as well. They've made me like the films more. So we have a couple more questions. Did you still have a question? Yeah. and then we'll come over here, and then
It's a bit of a silly question. I was going to say who would win in a staring contest, but in a staring contest. But I think a better question is who's more determined, Leslie Knope or Captain America?
Leslie Knope. Oh yeah, I think he'd give up way before she did. Yeah, I actually do. I'm a very big Captain America fan. No, he would, if he believed he was right in something, then yes, he will kind of try very hard to do it. But she'll try hard at anything and give it the same level of focus. So like, maybe it depends on what they're doing. Like if they're binding something, then she will definitely be there longer than he is. You know, if they're fighting for truth, justice, and the American way, to quote another hero, maybe he'll be in the fight as long as she is. But generally, most everyday tasks, I think I would give it to Leslie Knope first, much as I love Cap.
I 100% agree with you there. And I think I also feel like maybe Leslie Knope would out-know Captain America to the point where Captain America becomes exhausted and knows that there's nothing he can possibly do to kind of deter her, because she's so absolutely tireless and relentless, and also tirelessly cheerful. Like, I do think Captain America has a bit of a dark side. I think in some of the later films, I do feel like he's going, another fucking thing. But Nope is never like that. Like, she is relentless, tireless, and always full of positivity and sunshine.
Yeah, he can do this all day, but she can do it all night as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, and also she likes it. Yeah, and she wants to do it.
I just missed it. I think that's
I have to say Cap, because you would have quoted it, I could do this all day. And we're all, we know, roll our eyes, but well, hope not roll our eyes because they lose the state competition that way. But Cap, definitely Cap for me. I know I had to be the odd one out, but still.
Okay, we have a question here. We've just got a couple of minutes left.
Who has been your favourite Spider-Man, and do you think we see Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man in the new Spider-Man movie?
So who's been our favourite Spider-Man, and will we see Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man in this movie? I mean, he's been very clear that he's not in it.
He's in it.
So
I think Andrew Garfield is in it. I feel like he's saying that so no one will question him, because if you say you're not in it, who's going to bother you then?
everyone apparently.
But,
everyone.
Yeah, they're questioning. But my favourite Spider-Man has to be Andrew Garfield. Reason why? Because Tom Holland, you just look at him and think to yourself, honestly, he's a nice balance between Spider-Man and Peter Parker. I don't know when he is Spider-Man and when he is Peter Parker, to be honest with you. And with Andrew Garfield, I've got that sense of when he was Peter Parker, I've got that sense when he was Spider-Man. And when Tobey Maguire, he was depressing as Spider-Man. He was, I even rewatched it because I thought maybe it was all in my head. He was depressing. But really, I was like, whoa. He said a few jokes here and there, but he was sad. And these jokes didn't land with me at all.
Okay, so my favourite Spider-Man is Tom Holland. No, not good. So while I like Andrew Garfield, the trouble with Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker is that he was too cool. Like, Peter Parker isn't supposed to be the cool kid. He's not supposed to be the guy who's probably going to be bullying everyone else, like rocking in and he's got his good hair. Like, he's not meant to be the cool kid, right? No. Hello. So, Tom Holland is both brilliant as Peter Parker and also Spider-Man because he's incredibly vulnerable. He's really young. He's kind of cool, and like you can like watch him and enjoy him. But he's not the cool kid. He's not going to be the one who's like picking on the nerds. He's the nerd. And Tobey Maguire wasn't depressing. And in the third film, like, because I love the first two, but the third film really ruined it. And I think he was a bit too old by that point as well. And like, so anyway, come at me, bro.
Okay. When they say Spider-Man, Peter Parker was too cool, I always recite back to the 90s Spider-Man. Do you remember how Peter Parker was there? He looked hench, and he looked, the way he was approaching girls and he was talking to them, and he was, and the thing is, they had a certain je ne sais quoi, because he always told Aunt May when he took her around and stuff like that. He knew what he was doing. That guy was smart. He had a plan. That guy was cool. And he's always wearing that tight polo shirt. I thought to myself, you know you look wham, and you do it on purpose. Come on.
I don't think that's right. I mean, I know it exists, but I don't think that's right for Peter Parker. I'm with you. I think Tom Holland is a great Spider-Man and Peter Parker, and it is rare to get them both that spot on. I'm also going to mention Shamik Moore because I think Miles Morales in the Spider-Verse is just so unbelievably perfect. Like, I mean, look, they're all good. It was Spider-Ham. I mean, maybe he's the right answer here. Spider-Ham is astonishing. But and I saw one over there a minute ago. But yeah, I think Tom Holland is the best Peter Parker we've had live action big screen. Okay, we got one more question. Okay, so we'll just come to you and then we'll finish up. So no pressure, but it has to be good.
So, my good friend Michael over there, we go a long way back. So I'm going to ask you the most important question, pretty much, is another answer. Who's the better leader, Tommy or Jason?
That's too easy as a Green Ranger. It's Tommy.
Thank you. Greatest of all time.
I was just parrying the question. Yeah, it's Tommy. Come on now. Guys, you guys agree with me. Who's a better leader? Is it Tommy or Jason? I swear when Tommy got involved now, Jason got sidelined automatically. Or is it just my imagination? Okay, so yeah, the people are spoken.
Alright, that was very quick. We have one more quick question. Yeah, fine.
I was just going to ask if you think that with TV show releases, if you think it's better for them to all release at once, or if you think it's better to do a weekly release, or if you think it's show dependent.
Okay, so is it better to have TV shows drop all at once or come out week by week?
I think that's a really good question. I think it's really, really interesting. So I think the habit we have at the minute is the want to binge, the need to binge. So I kind of hate it when I can't watch everything at once. But I actually think it's better that they're released week to week, because I think otherwise you don't consume it properly. You're watching it while you're doing your ironing. You're not taking enough time to really appreciate it or talk about it or think about it or consider it. And I think also week to week makes it feel like an event. It feels important. So therefore structure. So structural things like cliffhangers are really important, and things like what information is given in each episode. So if you're just going to binge a lot, then you're just like consuming it as one thing, and therefore the arcs are not the same. And I think that the art of the old cliffhanger and where the episode ends is really important. So yeah, I would go week to week.
Binge, get out of the way, binge it. Because when Daredevil came out, all at once, yo, KFC was straight away my local. Went there, put the mecha bucket, sat down, had 2 liter ball, Fanta, and ate all the chips, all the chicken, all the wings. Man's done all the show, and yeah, that's done, that's out of the way. Because I can't wait, week by week. You know, that's like having a knife. We go, yeah, Mike, you ready? Yeah, come, stab. Nah, that's torture. That is literally torture.
It is. Okay, but here's the thing. I think it's better for the show. Because, you know, like I did binge Midnight Mass recently. I watched it like all in a weekend. It was amazing. I loved it. But I watched it like 2 weeks after everybody else had watched it, and so I was not part of that conversation. But it was also too early for the bunch of people who still haven't watched it. So I don't know who I can talk about it with and when. And it's really complicated. Whereas the Marvel shows, they were coming out every week. I knew that on a Wednesday I could have a conversation about Marvel with my friends. That was clear. Everybody was getting up at 8 a.m. when they dropped and watching the Marvel shows. And then it's torturous. I know it is. It is incredibly torturous. It is awful and painful. And yet it meant that we were discussing it for 8 weeks, not 1 weekend.
Oh, well, get out of the way.
But this is in terms of a show. If you're a showrunner, if that's your show, it's preferable.
Well, look at Squid Games.
That's an exception, not the rule. That is an exception.
Exemption now, yeah? We've got an exception.
Yeah.
Oh, come on! Squid Games done well. I remember that when Squid Games came out, I came across it by accident. Not by accident. My boy Warren over there, he phoned my phone. He goes, Michael, I don't know what you're doing. Stop it. Just go watch Squid Games. Shut up, man. Let me just do what I'm doing. Because no, Michael, whatever you're doing, just stop and watch. I listened to what he had to say, and I regret what he had to say because that got me hooked. Because the time he told me was at 6 in the evening. I didn't go to bed until the following day. Thank you, Warren.
Okay, look, I'm not saying that we should never binge. I'm just saying there are some upsides. Anyway, listen, we've got to wrap it up. There's another one of the great Spideys joining us. So we have to wrap it up. Thank you so much, everybody, for your questions, because I really didn't have enough written down, and all of yours were better than mine, so that was really appreciated. And thank you especially to Michael and Rosie. And yeah, enjoy the rest of the day. Fantastic.